In Surah 5, verse 50, the Quran says to let the people of the gospel judge by what God hath revealed therein. If any do fail to judge by the light of what God hath revealed, they are no better than those who rebel. While Muslims claim the Old and New Testaments as part of their scriptures, the Quran is the defining text of Islam. Because Islam references the Old and New Testaments as being revealed by Allah, the God of Islam, Muhammad appealed to them as proof for the authority of the Quran. In this verse, Muhammad exhorts Christians, here referenced as, quote, the people of the gospel, to examine the validity of Islam on the basis of what the New Testament says in comparison. He goes so far as to say that if Christians do not examine Islam according to the New Testament, then we are no better than rebels against God. So, in this video, I will take Muhammad up on his charge. What does the Quran say about Jesus and the claims of the Christian faith? In Surah 4, verse 157, the Quran states in reference to the Jews of Jesus' day that they, quote, killed him not nor crucified him, but so it was made to appear to them, for of a surety they killed him not. Based on this verse, Islam teaches that Jesus was not crucified. The Quran does state here that something happened to the effect that it looked to people as if Jesus had been crucified. However, it emphasizes twice that this is not what actually happened. Thus, as Christians, we now have a truth claim by which we can test the Quran. Jesus was not killed or crucified. What does the Bible have to say about this? In Matthew chapter 16, verse 21, and Mark chapter 8, verse 31, both authors record that Jesus taught his disciples that he was going to be killed and resurrected. In Matthew chapter 17, verse 9, and Mark chapter 9, verse 31, Jesus makes a second prediction of both these events. Jesus makes a third prediction of his death and resurrection in Matthew chapter 20, verses 17 to 19, Mark chapter 10, verses 32 to 34, and Luke chapter 18, verses 31 to 33. John also records Jesus giving a prediction of his death and resurrection in chapter 2, verse 19, after he drove the merchants out of the temple. He gives 3 other references to his death in chapter 10, where he refers to himself as the good shepherd who lays down his life for his sheep. Even though the Quran denies that Jesus was crucified, it does affirm that Jesus is a prophet of God. However, this affirmation presents a quandary for the Islamic position. If Jesus was a true prophet, then he could not have honestly made these predictions, because a mistaken or false prediction about a death and resurrection that wouldn't actually happen would make him a false prophet. Thus, if the Quran is true that Jesus was not killed or crucified, then it means that Jesus was a false prophet, and therefore Islam should not be trusted. On the other hand, if the Quran is false in that Jesus was actually crucified and resurrected, then this proves that the text of the Quran cannot be divinely revealed, which also means that Islam should not be trusted. Moreover, the Bible very plainly records that Jesus was killed by crucifixion and that he rose from the dead 3 days later. If the New Testament is a source of authority over the Quran, as Muhammad taught, the result is that the Quran's truth claim fails by its own litmus test. For this reason, as well as many others, Islam should not be regarded as the true religion of God.